Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about back references. And back references allow you to reference things that have been matched already in the pattern. So, for instance, if I match D in my pattern, I can use that match, I can evaluate that value to see if it's the same as the next part of the pattern, which is D, of course. So we're going to write a pattern to match a letter, a space, and then the same letter. And so it'll match this, but it won't match this down here because this isn't the same. So we can do word character, and then a space, and then a word character, and that will match everything. I'm going to clear my regex options right quick. And we don't want that because it's matching HF down here. These letters aren't the same. We want the letters to be the same. So what we can do is we can do a group here, and this will be implicitly group number 1, and we can use \1 to reference that group, and that's a back reference to the group. This just states that we want a word character, a space, and then the same word character as the word character matched in group 1. So now when I go for matches, I only get DD instead of DD and HF. Okay, if you want to, you can explicitly number your group. You can do that, it works just as well. If you try to reference a group that doesn't exist, you're definitely going to get an exception. And you can also name your groups. So we're going to name this word. And we would use \k and then do this format here, and then type in your name. And you'll get your matches as well in the same manner. So this is a tad bit more inelegant using named groups in this sense, but if you are referencing your groups in code, I recommend using named groups regardless, because you actually know what value you're retrieving. It's just a bit more expressive. So what else? I would definitely, I don't do this often, but I know that I'm probably going to be doing this whenever I use this kind of back reference, just because it's more distinguished. The K can be confused as some sort of formatting character that represents a bunch of characters or something like that. So I would definitely do this, and then do regex options explicit capture if you don't want this to be captured as a group, if you're using implicit numbered groups. Just a recommendation. And there's not a lot more to it. I'm going to show you a practical usage of this. So we're going to go to my pasteboard here, paste some input in here, and what I've got is I've got some HTML tags. So I have a divider and a link, I believe, and we want to match these with one pattern. So we're going to match that, and we're going to match this. So let's get started. Let's define our opening tag. So I'm going to use a character group, not the closing tag, or the closing character of the tag, that is, and then the closing bracket. So this character group basically just allows me to match everything inside these pointy brackets effectively, and there has to be at least one of them. And we could do the same thing here, just with the closing format. I think that's how it is, / at the start of the tag. And we'll do 0 or more characters in between, because there can be tags that are directly next to each other with nothing in between them. And we're going to get our matches here. So I only got A, and that's because div here, these divs, they're separated by a new line, and at the time the period only encompasses everything except for a new line. To change this, you just got to set your regular expression pattern, your regex options, so that single line is selected, and that will make sure that the period encompasses a new line, and you can get both matches. And of course, this is greedy by default. That's why it's matching as much as it can. And we don't have our back reference set up, so it's just going to do that. So in this case, we're going to do non-greedy, and we're going to get individual matches for these tags here. But once we implement our back references, this isn't really going to matter. So let's do this. Let's do our named group. So we want our tag names to be the same. So I'm going to zoom out of this. All right, so there's my tag name. And we want to back reference the tag name right around here. And I'm just going to remove this stuff here and back reference tag name. So we're going to do K and then tag name. It's really interesting how I don't have to escape these pointy brackets, just because I can use them as some special reserved character, but I can also use them as actual visible characters in the input text to match. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, we're still going to get our matches here, but if I were to change up this letter here to F, then it's automatically not matched because we're back referencing the first tag, the opening tag. So I'm going to change this back. All right, and if you want to make this a bit more flexible, we're going to have to add some more logic in there, just because you can add some text into here and basically it's not going to be able to match them. So we want this to have some sort of text. Like you might have some sort of style defined here, and it's not going to be able to match. So what we can do is we're going to start by separating this stuff so that it's a bit easier to write and read. And we're going to have to do that. We're going to start by setting the ignore pattern white space. And we're going to add some pattern white space in there. So I have to do shift enter with this regex tester to do some in pattern white space. And we're going to separate these three lines. So we have our opening tag and our everything in between the tags and then our closing tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a comment. I forget what the comment is exactly. I'm just going to use this here, insert comment functionality. And what should I call this? Opening tag. And we'll do the same thing down here. Add some white space so that it lines up. Call this closing tag. And some stuff down here. And call this between stuff. What is it? It should. What would you typically call this? I don't know. It'd be like inner text or something. In XML, it's like inner text, I think. I don't really know. But that's what I'm going to call it. And it's still going to find things like we typically want it to. If you see the numbers update down here, that means that I'm searching. Yeah, so it's finding our stuff. It's still not finding the div. So let's get to that. So in this case, our tag, it has to be a word character from what I can tell. So it's like a number or a letter. So a word character will encompass that. It also encompasses underscores, I do believe. We can check with the reference here. Search / word character. Yes, it does encompass underscores. It's not a big deal. So we're going to do, for the tag name, we're going to do one or more word characters. And take this stuff out of here. We'll use that as the remainder stuff. And we're expecting a space after the tag name. So one or more spaces. And then the remainder, which is everything other than the closing pointy brace thing. And alright, so we're going to do this something similar down here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this. I think that'd be the easiest thing to do for the closing closing stuff, the closing tag. And instead of using this group here, we're just going to replace this with our back reference. So we're going to do K and then tag name. And of course we have to add our forward, what is it called? Forward slash in front of there. And everything's fine now. So I definitely broke it because it doesn't work, but we're going to check it out. Oh, it's because I'm expecting a space here and there's no spaces. So if I were to set this as these both as 0 or more spaces, then it should match, and it does. Okay. And we really don't need a space. It's not really mandatory. So what we need to do, this is kind of complicated now, but what we should do is we should wrap this in a group here and do one or more of these. So we either have, let's go down to the input here, we either have a space and then some extra stuff, or we just have the tag name. So tag name or tag name with space and extra stuff. So that's what this this here is, one or more. Sorry, it's 1 or 0. So we're going to do the same thing down here. And there we go. So that worked out. It's now matching things like we want it to. If I were to change this name up here to div with 2 V's, it's not going to match it because the tag name is different. And now it will. Considering that we don't actually need to use this group here, we may want to go to Regex options and set explicit capture. So we won't be able to, there's no backing store created for these groups that aren't explicitly named or numbered. And that actually makes the pattern run a bit more efficiently. And that's really only something that you would do if you're doing something like this where you're analyzing large sums of text. Like for instance, you would use this for an HTML page, which could potentially have a lot of content. So setting an option like that wouldn't hurt. Okay, so I'm going to find a way to put this in the description. Probably gonna have to be a paste bin thing, but it's gonna be in there somewhere. And remember that I'm using explicit capture, single line, and ignore pattern white space for this to work. And definitely check out this regex tester. It's on SourceForge and it's called Sharp Regex Tester. It might be labeled as Simple Regex Tester. I do recall the title being Simple Regex Tester and not really being updated to its latest name, but what can I do? And like, yeah, you can just select things and it'll tell you what it is down below. You can go into references and look it up on this chart here. And you have a MSDN link down here for more information. It's a pretty elaborate text editor. Definitely going to add functionality to generate C# code. So I'd be able to take this, right click, and copy C# code according to, I don't know, what options I have set, what patterns written, and definitely format it in different ways. That'd be pretty cool, don't you think? And that's it. See ya.